The Mustang Morning News is a public forum for student expression. Students make all content decisions, and opinions do not necessarily represent those of the Manhattan Beach Unified School District.
After a year of online school and using digital resources, we follow up on Coasta's paper usage and how it's changed the way we teach.
And with high schools having to start at 8:30 next year, with uncertainty between the teachers, we find out the latest.
Also, after 4 years at Costa, seniors have a lot to say. Stick around to the end to hear their stories. This is the Mustang Morning News.
I'm Kyle Farrell.
And I'm Mac Bender. Welcome to the final show of the year. It's time for today's Costa quiz.
Here's how it works. Go to our Instagram story at Mustang Morning News and respond with your name, your teacher's name, and your answer to today's question for a chance to win a shout out.
Today's question is, in what year was same-sex marriage legalized in the United States? Is it A, 2010, B, 2018, C, 1998, or D, 2015?
Think you know the answer? Submit it through the response box on our Instagram story now at Mustang Morning News.
Two years ago, Walker Watson reported on the paper usage at MiraCosta. After a year back from the pandemic, how have we changed the way we teach and learn? Walker Watson reports.
In 2018, MiraCosta used 4.3 million sheets of paper, or roughly 3 trees a day, costing the district upwards of $46,000. In the wake of online learning, some schools around the country have made the move to replace paper with digital mediums. While Costa has decreased its paper consumption by 47% from 2018, many teachers still aren't yet ready to part with paper.
It's awful to know that we're contributing to the decimation of trees in the name of education. Like, that's not right. For me, it's been a balancing act. I still do have concerns about students no longer writing pen and paper style because I think it is an important life skill.
Studies have shown that physically writing does promote information retention, but at schools with one-to-one programs where every student is provided the same device, a traditional pen and paper can be replaced with a digital alternative that saves money and allows for further innovation.
We're an iPad campus, so all the kids have iPads and Apple Pencils. When I want to learn something, I'm going to take notes, but I'm more likely to take notes with an Apple Pencil and an iPad. The iPad is a creative device where you can make things and do things. Most of the things that we design in class are more collaborative projects where we're all working together for a common good. I also think kids are more engaged when you give them something creative to do as opposed to giving them a worksheet. Nobody wants to do a worksheet.
While MiraCosta is not currently looking to implement a one-to-one program on campus, most teachers would not be able to alter their curriculums regardless, due to the lack of professional development time provided by the district.
Between grading, between lesson planning, between emailing, it is very difficult to make time for massive changes within the classroom.
At schools with robust professional development programs, people like Illinois English teacher Chris Bronke are able to spend 90 hours completely reworking their curriculum to fit a paperless project-based format.
We're preparing students for a world that is mostly digital. But if you're also going to say that in one breath, then I need to see you change how you're teaching a little bit to do things that are also preparing kids for the real world skills. And unfortunately, I don't think teachers want to hear both sides of that coin.
Currently, MiraCosta teachers are provided with 2 professional development days a year, leaving those interested in innovating with little time to do so.
It's very limited. I'm looking to add more staff meetings where we are having some time during the day, during the professional day, for teachers to be able to do that type of work and to be trained. I would hope to see that we can move forward and see that paper usage come down. But I think once you get started, momentum picks up, and then we could see that happen.
For the Mustang Morning News, this is Walker Watson.
A new state law requires that high schools start after 8:30 a.m. That means we'll have a new schedule. But teachers have yet to decide if we will have a block schedule. Mac Bender and Madison Lenz report.
The Senate passed a bill on October 14, 2019 that will prevent the school day from starting before 8:30 as soon as the start of next year. Costa is required to teach students for a minimum of 64,800 educational minutes, but aren't allowed to go over the 180 days spanned across the school year.
There are two drafts that are currently in the running, but decision has not been made yet.
One of the options is block schedule. Each class period would be 2 times longer, and the amount of periods per day would be reduced to 2 to 3. With a block schedule, athletes should expect a much different layout.
If you move something half an hour one direction, you can't just create time in the middle. So definitely there will be an impact on after-school activities.
The law states, this section does not prohibit a school district or charter school from offering classes or activities to a limited number of pupils before the start of the school day. This exception allows the roughly 550 students currently enrolled in zero period to continue arriving at school before 8 a.m.
After doing the school site council survey, it came out that about 60% of students favored the traditional schedule and 40% favored the alternate type style of schedule.
As of right now, there isn't a set date that the teachers need to choose next year's schedule by, but expect school to run a lot differently in the fall. For the Mustang Morning News, this is Mac Bedner and Maddie Lentz. After 4 years at being at MiraCosta, these seniors are finally ready to tell their story. Here's a sneak peek.
By now, in senior year, I've found pride in who I am, but I know that it doesn't happen easily, and lots of kids go into college with that same mindset learned in this community.
Once I found out one of my best friends was non-binary, I had a little crisis. Someone I respect has an awful take. Well, there are many blogs and videos by trans people who make strong cases for their philosophical views on gender. And after hearing them out, I eventually realized that my worldview was hurting the people I care about. A few years later, I realized I too am non-binary. I let go of my hate, and I'm happier for it. All this came from being receptive to new ideas. I highly recommend it.
You can see the rest of the series on our YouTube channel.
In order to address an increase in hate speech and racism on our campus, the district implemented a series of activities to address student social emotional well-being. While the district is quick to condemn such actions, a video produced by a conservative organization on our campus seems to contradict our policies of acceptance. Matthew Cullen finds out how this video was made and what the district plans to do about it.
MiraCosta is concerned about acceptance and emotional safety for students, and is quick to condemn behavior like cyberbullying or racism. We saw this earlier this year with the bathroom closures as a response to racist vandalism. But 4 years ago, a production company used our football field to produce a video that experts say has strong political messaging. The video was viewed over 10 million times across platforms. Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's former lawyer who was suspended from practicing law due to false and misleading statements, reposted the video on Twitter during the 18th anniversary of 9/11, gaining the video 4 million more views. The video follows a cop being faced with a group of protesters. We flash back through the officer's life showing how American he is, doing things like playing football at MiraCosta. We then flash back to the cop taking out his weapon to prepare to attack the protesters.
It is portraying protests as extremely dangerous and risky and harmful. I think it's a polarizing message. That's what makes me think that this is intended to be, honestly, a little bit of propaganda.
I can see how it would make someone feel like the message is, don't protest, don't fight back.
I absolutely do feel that there's a contradiction between the messages presented in that video and the messages that we see produced by like our school administration. And I think that has a big impact on how willing people are able to speak about things, whether that be political or even just personal issues.
I would say it seems to be a politically charged ad. And when I saw the guns at the very end in the logo, my first reaction was NRA. I would say that they should have not been involved with this.
The commercial raises questions about anyone using taxpayer-funded facilities like our football field to create videos for purposes that don't align with our district's values. This kind of thing has happened before, like in 2012 when Snoop Dogg's production company shot a part of a film on our campus. District employees approved the shoot but quickly shut it down when community members found out the contents of the film. Typically, when renting campus facilities, there's a process that companies must go through. Rentals of athletic facilities like the football field are handled by MBX, and the process involves a contract with guidelines such as no smoking on campus. Other than that, there are no specific guidelines regarding use for political purposes like in the video.
There's not a day-to-day discussion with MDUSD. They've given me the rules that we work with. If we have an unusual rental, we may go to the district, make some decisions about where we're going forward.
There is no record of this commercial being officially approved, but somebody on the football field knew this was happening, since there is an actor wearing a Costa uniform, and students that appeared in the video signed release forms. Whether it was approved by MBX or another school employee is unclear. The superintendent and school board declined to be interviewed for this story, but in a written statement they said they will continue to follow board policy and will not take any action against the commercial. In a time when hate crimes are increasing, even on campus, students and parents are even more concerned about their safety and hope to see the district be more careful in the future.
It would go a long way to say, hey, MiraCosta's position on having a voice and equality and inclusivity is X. You know, it's very clear, and we stand by those ideals.
The administration has to evaluate the short and long-term effects of making these type of decisions that could negatively affect MiraCosta.
Right, one person with biases in whichever which way, towards right-wing politics or towards Snoop Dogg, could allow something inappropriate to be filmed on school grounds. It should have at least 2 people in the school administration authorize films before they shoot.
My advice would be super clear before you put your brand name or your students on camera representing the school. Understand what the context is and who is behind the message.
The district or school board currently has no plans to alter board policy, pursue any action against the production company, or launch an investigation to find out who may have approved the production. For the Mustang Morning News, this is Matthew Cullen.
We have the answer to today's Costa quiz.
Today's question was, in what year was same-sex marriage legalized in the United States?
The answer was D, 2015. The Supreme Court removed all bans on same-sex marriage on June 26th of 2015.
That's all for today's show, but we're still busy reporting on our Instagram at Mustang Morning News. Check out the MiraCosta 5 going up tomorrow.
Stick around to watch Our Humans, featuring a finalist for the Student of the Year. Thanks for watching, Mustangs, and have a great summer.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a senior at MiraCosta High School, and I'm co-president of Diversify Our Narrative MBUSD. Diversify Our Narrative is an organization that was started by some students at Stanford. It's a 501c3 now, I think, nonprofit. But the goal of it was to empower high school students to be able to campaign their districts to add books by people of color to their core curriculum. And since MiraCosta didn't have a single book by a person of color in their core curriculum until last year, I wanted to get involved with that in my sophomore year. I have a great team of juniors that help me with a lot of the things that are going on right now, and they're definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with once I graduate. So I'm excited for them to continue on the legacy that we built together. I shouldn't say mine. I'd say that was the biggest challenge, was getting the school board to give us an audience, and then afterwards the challenges we faced were like parents that were upset about what we were doing. They said we were brainwashing their kids, that we didn't know what we were saying. It was critical race theory, which it's not, just to set the record straight, it's definitely not. But yeah, those were the big ones, definitely. Well, the TED Talk definitely was an opportunity. That was something that came from this. I got an email from the TEDx coordinator for this city, and she said that someone had nominated me. It was a little process, but that's how I started it. Motivation comes from the fact that I know like what results are going to come from my working hard, because my life has been a series of work hard, get rewarded, work hard, get rewarded. So while I'm doing the work, even in the times when it seems like I'll never get out of it, I keep in mind the fact that I've been carried through this before, and I'll get through it again.